to a very special episode of Your Property Pulse, Knight Frank's dedicated real estate podcast for the Middle East. I'm your host, Faisal, partner and head of Middle East research. So here we are, now having launched in Qatar, building on our tremendous Middle East presence, where we have 200 staff spread across offices in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Jeddah, Manama, and Riyadh. Today, we're joined by James Lewis, Managing Director, Middle East and Africa at Knight Frank, as well as our partner and head of Qatar, Adam Stewart. Thank you, gents, for joining us. This is an exciting time for real estate markets in the Middle East. High oil prices and the boom in demand is driving record performance across all real estate sectors. James, perhaps we can start with you. What has made Qatar the next stop for Knight Frank in the Middle East?
Thank you, Faisal. Qatar has always been an important market for us. We work extensively with Qatari investors around the globe. These same clients have expressed an interest in having us operate in the country. And being client-centric, we want to get as close to those clients as possible and their particular projects. And there are some considerable, amazing, world-class developments that are being built and already constructed in Doha and Qatar and wider Qatar. We're keen to get close to those clients and assist with these projects.
Okay. And Adam, how about you? Why are you excited to be bringing the Knight Frank brand to Qatar?
Hi, Faisal. Knight Frank is recognized as one of the leading real estate advisory and brokerage companies in the world. And that name is certainly very well known to many Qataris and expatriates alike. The brand is synonymous with luxury and quality, and it fits extremely well with Qatar. There's a well-known phrase in Qatar, which is the motto of the Public Works Authority. So you see it in hoardings across the country, and that is Qatar deserves the best. And for me, in my mind, is Knight Frank.
Okay. So what services can customers look forward to from Knight Frank in Qatar, James?
Good quote, Adam. I like that. Look, our services broadly fall into two brackets, consulting and transactional. So if we start with consulting, we will look to offer commercial property valuations, hospitality consulting, which can be very big given the World Cup and the legacies there. Healthcare consulting is massive across the region. Education consulting is certainly very in vogue at the moment. And then strategic consulting, which covers all the other major sectors. This will help us to assist with all the relevant stakeholders, occupier, investor, developer, and government, so they can get the best from their assets or proposed developments. It'll also help our clients to provide an insight into their environmental standings and sustainability standings, which is incredibly important across the globe at the moment. That's the first bracket. The second bracket is transactional. Our world-famous private office provides a discrete global service for those looking at mainly residential assets all over the world. And linked to this are our global capital markets teams. They provide analysis and opportunities in the commercial sector, so non-residential, again, for opportunities all over the world. And Adam will be the gateway to all of those services and more.
Okay. And speaking about all of the development that's going on in Qatar, Adam, perhaps you can tell us about what's happening in the real estate market right now.
Yeah, certainly. It's a very exciting time in Qatar right now. So residential rents have risen about 30% year on year. And due to the lack of availability in the market, landlords have capitalized on this and have been able to secure longer term leases. Understandably, the residents in Qatar aren't quite as happy as the landlords. In the hospitality market, we're seeing both ADRs and occupancy rates on the rise, and this will only increase as the tournament approaches. So there was significant supply came to the market as part of the World Cup preparations, and the number of keys is expected to rise to about 35,000 by the start of the World Cup, and increase further to around 59,000 by 2025. So the future performance of this market is really dependent on, how Qatar presents itself to the world and can attract, visitors post-World Cup. Looking at the retail market, it's very similar. There's been a real push to deliver F&B for the World Cup, with operators, really keen to secure footfall throughout Q4. There's been some noticeable additions to the retail market during the year. Place Vendôme opened. It's a super regional mall, around 230,000 square meters. And there's been, a lot of F&B outlets opened. DR successfully launched Lucille Boulevard, which is about a 1.3 kilometer strip leading up to the Lucille Stadium. So that's going to be a focal point for the World Cup. The office market, it remains stable. I think rents have sort of bottomed out since the peak of 2015. And demand remains for smaller spaces, sort of sub 200 square meters.
What about, Adam, could I ask, what about environmental, which I've just touched on? How sustainability, how prominent is that in the thinking of our clients at the moment, or isn't it prominent enough?
I think it's starting to change, James. Wired scores recently launched in the region. I myself am an AP, and we're already speaking to some clients in Qatar who are recognizing this is, a very important part of the future of real estate.
Okay, some really interesting things going on there, Adam. Certainly Qatar sounding like it's as exciting, if not more so, than other markets in the region. And then, James, perhaps you could shed some light on what Knight Frank has planned across the Middle East next.
That would be telling, Faisal. Look, as I mentioned before, we are client-centric. So we will go where our clients wish us to be. So there are other locations in the MEA region that are of interest at the moment, and that we're assessing. But as I say, we'll be led by our clients as to where we go next.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that, James. And it looks like we're just about out of time. So join us again soon for the next episode of Your Property Pulse, where we will be looking at the impact of the FIFA World Cup on property markets in the Middle East. But until then, ma salama.